Hey everyone, Indian pharma sector has seen a dream rally during COVID period where stock price of pharma companies jumped multifold times. And one pharma company that grew crazily was Laurus Lab. During COVID period, Laurus Lab share price zoomed from levels of 70 rupee to 700 rupee, generating 10 times return within 1.5 years. However, it's been more than 1.5 years since Laurus Lab share is on correction mode and has tanked more than 50% to current levels of 330. Now, majority of retail investors entered into this stock when it was near its peak, and hence Laurus Lab is showing loss in their portfolio. Since it's been nearly 1.5 years for the downtrend in Laurus Lab shares, it has created panic among retail investors and many of them are losing patience. Now, even I am an investor in Laurus Lab share and I'm also in slight loss as my buying price is at levels of 370. So I've gone through the recent analyst con call transcript to understand what exactly is the reason for this sharp correction in their share price and is there more pain ahead for the company. More importantly, as a long-term investor, I am more inclined towards having an understanding of their long-term growth prospect. So in this video, I've covered their current business performance and future roadmap. Hopefully this video will give you a good clarity on Laurus Lab business and whether you should buy, hold or sell the share. Alright, let's get started. To begin with, let me quickly brief you about the reason for sharp jump in Laurus Lab shares and then sharp correction. So if you look at the revenue of Laurus Lab before COVID, it was on consistent growth trajectory. The revenues jumped from 282 crore in FY11 to 451 crore, 719 crore, 1160, 1326, likewise till 2797 crore. So that's 10 times growth in revenue in last 10 years, which was exceptional. And earning grew from 9 crore to 22 crore, then 88 crore, then there was some dip, then earnings again jumped, and by FY20, Laurus Lab net profit was 267 crore. That's a phenomenal growth of 30 times in last 10 years. As compared to revenues and earning, Laurus Lab share price didn't grew till 2020. In fact, company launched its IPO in December 2016 and share price was almost flat till March 20 before COVID. That made Laurus Lab highly undervalued. However, then COVID happened that further fueled Laurus Lab growth due to high demand for Laurus Lab APIs and medicines. Hence, its revenue zoomed to 4,769 crore and profit zoomed almost 4 times to 956 crore. Another reason for sharp jump in Laurus Lab share price was because earlier it was mainly into API manufacturing, which is a raw material for medicine. But then it ventured into finished dosage, that is the end medicine, which is a higher margin business. Company also forayed into contract manufacturing, which is again a high margin business. So due to high growth trajectory and crazy liquidity in 2021, Laurus Lab shares zoomed nearly 10 times. And then the demand started falling post-COVID and its earnings fell down to 750 crore rupees. That resulted in profit booking and hence share correction in Laurus Lab share price. So this is a high level understanding. Now let us dig deep to understand their business and its future growth prospect. So basically Laurus Lab has got 4 business divisions. First is generic formulation and it is also known as finished dosage form, that is the end medicine for consumption. It includes your medicines for treatment of AIDS, diabetes, cardiovascular issue, nervous system and so on. Then second segment is generic APIs and it includes your ARV API and non-ARV API. So ARV stands for antiretroviral, that is used for treatment of HIV and AIDS. Laurus Lab is among the world's leading supplier of ARV API and non-ARV API include API for treatment of diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular issue and so on. Then third division is CDMO or also known as custom synthesis that include contract manufacturing and development for global pharmaceutical companies where Laurus Lab is involved in your research, manufacturing and sale of steroids, hormones and other nutraceutical, dietary supplement and cosmeceutical products. Then fourth segment is biotechnology. In this segment, Laurus Lab manufacture high volume industrial scale biotechnology products for food, health and nutrition market for protein companies and biomanufacturers. Now if you look at the revenue contribution of each division in FY22, formulation division contributed 38% in total revenue, API contributed 41%. Within API, ARV API contributed 25% and remaining 16% from other APIs. Then CDMO contribution was 19% and bio segment contributed 2%. Now over the period, if you look at the growth trend, Laurus Labs CDMO division is the fastest growing segment that has seen a growth of 248% in revenues in last 9 months ended December 22 on year-on-year basis. Currently, Laurus Lab is working on 60 active CDMO projects. In the next 3-4 years, Laurus Lab is planning to generate 25% revenue from CDMO business, which is currently at 19%. Mind you, their CDMO business is high margin game. Although the company has not published individual margins for their division. On the other side, their formulation business has struggled in the last few quarters, that has declined 46% year-on-year in last 9 months. So major reason why Laurus Lab revenues have remained flattish in FY22 against FY21 is due to sharp decline in demand for formulation division that was the biggest contributor in company's revenue. The simple reason is because during COVID there was high demand for Laurus Lab formulation and APIs as channel partners stocked up their inventories. And due to high demand, the prices also jumped a lot that resulted in sharp uptick in Laurus Lab margins. That skyrocketed the revenues and profits for the company. However, post-COVID there was fall in demand due to channel destocking and the prices also fell down. However, this degrowth was partially offset by their CDMO business that has grown at a very fast rate. Now let us try to understand Laurus Lab growth plan. If you look at the future growth plan, Laurus Lab is consistently launching new products in both developed market and LMIC, that is low and middle income countries. As of today, Laurus Lab operates 11 manufacturing units, out of which 6 are US FDA approved with 74 DMF, that is Drug Master File, and 32 filed ANDA. So ANDA stands for Abbreviated New Drug Application. It is an application for a generic drug approval in the US and it has got 192 patents granted. Company is expanding in all 4 divisions including formulation, API manufacturing, especially in non-ARV API segment, then CDMO, that is custom synthesis, which is one of the fastest growing segment, and also in biotechnology. As far as Capex is concerned, Laurus Lab has invested 600 crores so far in 9 months of FY23 and has guided for investment of 2,000 crore in FY23 and FY24. If you look at the plan by each division, then in formulation business, company is expanding its capacity with brownfield expansion, which is in progress. Laurus Lab has also acquired land for new facility in Vizag for formulation division. Phase 1 is expected to complete by FY25. Company is also investing in R&D, has got 64 products in R&D pipeline that has a cumulative addressable market of $40 billion. So there is a good visibility in formulation business. Then second, if you look at API segment, in the long term, Laurus Lab plans to enter into other API, including your diabetes and cardiology, that would drive the growth in API segment. Third, if you look at CDMO segment, Laurus Lab is expanding its CDMO capacity with a dedicated R&D center that is expected to complete in FY24 and 3 dedicated CDMO manufacturing units are expected to complete in FY24 and FY25. So CDMO is the high growth area for the company. Then fourth, Laurus Bio, if you look at it, company is planning to add 1 million liter of fermentation capacity for Laurus Bio, which will come online in 2023-24 and drive the growth in 24-25. Laurus Lab has also acquired Recon Life Sciences to diversify in the area of animal origin free products, enzymes, as well as building biologics custom synthesis. Like I mentioned, company is already investing in Capex with 3 new greenfield units for CDMO and also focusing on new product development, especially in non-ARV segment. So CDMO, formulation and non-ARV segment would be the key growth driver for the company in the future. But in the short term, there can be more pain ahead in the company. One of the major reasons is their CDMO business shoot up significantly, but there is lack of clarity in the near-term growth due to expiry of one of their major contract of Paxlovid, which is used for COVID treatment. So as far as long-term growth prospects are concerned, Laurus Lab is on right track and should continue to grow at very good rate. But in the short term, there can be some impact on company's margin as CDMO business has grown exponentially at 248% in 9 months of FY23, which is a high margin business. However, in the near term, their ARV business contribution is expected to pick up, which is a low margin business. And CDMO business growth can slow down, that can impact Laurus Lab margins and earnings in the near term. Please note that management has not given any guidance on revenue or margins for the near term. So in the short term, there is lack of clarity on Laurus Lab business performance. And that is the reason the share price has corrected post Q3 results. Now I had a look at shareholding pattern to understand what institutional investors are doing with the company. and found that FI holding is more or less constant in last 6 quarters, whereas DIs have consistently increased stake in the last 6 quarters, and public holding has reduced significantly. Promoter did sell their stake when the share zoomed exponentially, but their holding has not changed much in last few quarters. So net-net, shareholding pattern suggests that domestic institutional investors are adding Laurus Lab, whereas public is selling it. That suggests the confidence of DIs in the company. I assume this confidence is for long-term growth prospect. As far as near-term targets are concerned, there is a mixed review after Q3 result where Motilal Oswal has given a buy call with a target of 440 rupee. Kotak has a target of 350 rupee, Jeffrey has got a hold rating with target of 325, and ICICI Direct has a buy call with target of 400 rupee. Currently, Laurus Lab is trading at levels of 330 and a PE ratio of 20.2. So in the near term, I don't see much movement in share price as the business would be in pressure in the near term. However, for the long term, I'm still optimistic on Laurus Lab growth prospect. I've invested in the company and would continue to hold it for long term. I'm certain that pharma sector in India has a bright growth prospect as the demand for healthcare products and medicine would continue to increase. And considering the fact that India is one of the leading pharma giants in the world with required expertise, talent pool and low-cost labor, it would continue to grow. In terms of share price, every sector has a cycle of ups and downs and pharma is no different. It has seen a sharp growth cycle during COVID and now it has been in downtrend for more than a year due to fall in demand post-COVID. Having said this, in the long term, pharma sector stocks will again pick up. When will it pick up? It's a big question because there is no clear visibility in the near term. But for long-term investors, this phase of consolidation and correction in top pharma companies has created an opportunity to accumulate top pharma stocks for long-term wealth creation. And when I say long-term, it has to be more than 5 years. So if you have the patience and courage to invest for long-term, then there is no need to panic. I'm certain that top pharma companies like Laurus Lab will eventually bounce back. And it is also very clear from their future growth roadmap. So one of the strategy in current market situation is to hold this stock and wait for the quarterly results. And when the results show improvement, then you can consider accumulating the stock. But again, let me repeat, in the near term, there can be more pain ahead due to lack of visibility, but there is no need to panic in the long term because future is certainly bright for Laurus Lab. I hope you'll find this analysis useful. If yes, do share it with your friends. I'll see you in next video. Till then, take care.